Well, I'm not going to lie, things haven't quite gone to plan, and I think the chances of us winning the league at the moment are slim. Not gone, but slim. Um, but today we've got a couple of big games to hopefully start putting that right, and perhaps start climbing the league. And even if we can't win the league, we should be able to hopefully at least skip the first round of the playoffs, which would certainly be progress from last year. It's disappointing, but let's go and see if we can start putting things right. So here you are. We can see some rather patchy form. We had the first game of the season, which you saw was a very nice big win against Messina. Since then, it's been very, very patchy. Few defeats, few draws. The odd win still catching there, and so often quite big wins. You can see we've won 2 games 4-1, which have been very impressive wins. But we've also had some pretty appalling defeats as well. The 4-1 and the 3-0 in particular. Really disappointing to lose that kind of by that kind of margin this season, when I really did think we were going to be challenging for the title. It's still not impossible we could do that. I think the 2 games today are probably going to show us whether that's something we could look to improve and do. Obviously, it means that we are kind of mid-table, and pretty much exactly mid-table if you think about it, because we're level on points with 11th, 10th and 11th. Between there is halfway, so we are exactly halfway down the table. And we need to start putting things right, quite simply. Deadline day, we signed Forrester, who's a central midfielder who has been a bit iffy to begin with. Been in and out the side a little bit. Crescenzi, who has come in and been our first choice centre-back based on his attributes, but again, he's not been massively successful. And then a couple of loans in Luan Capani, who has had a couple of games, scored a goal. Not bad. Brazilian, decent player. And then Samuel Ultramarine. I'm just going to. In fact, I'm going to nickname him the Ultramarine. Who looks like a very good striker. Finishing and pace seems to me to be good, but then he has failed to score once in 6 games, so slight issue there. So yeah, certainly room to improve at the moment. We've started to play Capani there instead of the Ultramarine, who he could improve. There's no doubt that's this is not the end for him, but there's certainly something to be done here. I think in terms of trying to jig things up and see if we can push this on to be a better team than this, because I think on paper we are a better team than we're showing. Sadly, as anyone will tell you, football is not played on paper. So today we have Rodrigo Good coming in. He got injured when he first came in. He's actually really upset. He basically doesn't think I've improved the strength of the squad as much as he'd like. He wanted me to improve it by bringing in new strikers. Well, we brought in Luan Capani. Looks good. We brought in the Ultramarine. Looks good. We brought in Davide Castelli, who actually had a very good start, and he has tailed off a bit, unfortunately. He hasn't scored in the last 5 games, as you can see. He made a very good start. I think his first game where he got two assists and a goal. Sadly, that so far anyway is his peak by some distance. So that's certainly something that we need to look at improving in terms of scoring rates and what we can pull out of the bag. Alessio Nepi, who really wasn't great for me last year, has made an absolutely storming start. Once I brought him in sort of almost as an experiment, because things weren't going very well. But as you can see, one starting appearance, 4 as a substitute, he's got 3 goals already. So that's very impressive. Gioldi has started to come good. We've got 4 goals and 3 assists from him. So that's good to see. But there's not really enough here for what we need to be doing. I should be seeing a lot more green in this average rating column. There's a lot of players underperforming, and that's a bit of a problem. Certainly in the midfield, improvements need to be made. I'm going to be having words with Erwin Omic. I reduced his playing time promise to backup because he wasn't playing essentially, and he complained about that. And I said, okay, well, we'll see what you do it. But he's not done very well since. So yeah, I'm going to criticise his last game because your performance was excellent. Wow. Okay, his performance was definitely not excellent. 6.6. It's not excellent. In no universe is that excellent. He's had 7.1, and that was only because he got an assist, really. So yeah, I need to see him improving if he wants to be anywhere near the first team. I wasn't necessarily expecting him to be this year. I thought he might improve a bit. He's not appalling. He ought to be able to do a job for me, but I wasn't expecting him to be a start of the season necessarily. We'll see. Hopefully, he will start to show a bit of improvement, because otherwise, I think his stay at this club might be short-lived if he's going to kick up a fuss about not being a first choice when he wasn't playing. Dedico with the corner for Bari. First highlight of the game, and it's gone in. Belly finds the net, and we are 1 down in a game that does feel like it's probably, this would be, I think, almost fatal to our chances of winning the title this year, which, as I say, at the start of the season was very much a target. I would have accepted a second or third place finish, but I really wanted to try and push for that title. Game's not over yet, obviously, but I do feel like if we were to lose this game, it would be very, very difficult to come back and win this title now. Gildi finds Nepi. Deramo can't quite get on the end of that ball. And they're through again, and Borelli has put it away, and this is not looking good for us. Hit a bit of a stumbling block. We had a good season last season. I was really pleased with it. Yes, we had a little bit of poor form at the end, but the season was basically over at that point. We were going to get into the playoffs. We weren't going to get into the later rounds of it. So I wasn't too bothered by it. But this season, it looks like we're really struggling. And frankly, if it looks like we can't really get into the latter stages of the playoffs from an early point, it's going to be a sideways step at best, very, very early on this season. If we don't change things around, and soon. Goal before half time would at least keep us in it. Di Matteo finds Nepi, crosses the ball to Nesta, and it goes over the bar. This is not good. I'm going to have to tell them that, I think. I think I'm going to have to do hands on hips. No, hands in pockets. Terrible. Good, it motivated them, except Nepi, so I might have to bring off Nepi soon. If he can't see that that's not good enough. We beat this team at least once last season. And we've been battered by them this game. And the scoreline starts to reflect that, really. It is turning into a bit of a disaster, and the first time really in this save that I felt we were in a bit of a bother. I think I will be issuing some fines after this game. Mr. Omic in particular made such a fuss about not being considered a first team starter, and he had 2 absolutely appalling games. Deramo. Stupid. Pathetic. Just pass the ball to the keeper there. Right, well, we've got to go for it. There's no point in going down with a whimper here. Omic, you're coming off. You're useless. Deramo can come off as well. And we'll bring off Nepi for the Ultramarine. Matteo also for Karkalis. That was really, really poor. Worryingly poor. I almost wonder what the future holds for this club at this point, because that was such a poor performance. And I'm looking through this team and thinking no one's doing it at the moment. Nepi is the only one, and he's not good enough, really. He's performed well, but this player is not good enough to be in the first team. And yet he's the only one who's really performing consistently, along with, I suppose, Castelli. But even he has had a bit of a wobble recently. He got 4 goals early on, and he hasn't scored for ages now. So something's going to need to be done. I will be back for the Palermo game shortly. Hopefully we can respond, because something's going to have to change, and quick. Right, so here we are on the day of the Palermo game. And looking back at their form recently is worrying, because they're unbeaten in a while. So that's a bit of an issue. We have beaten Palermo once, and we have drawn with them. So we've got a decent record against them. But this, I have to say, I don't feel at all confident here. I kind of feel like this is one of those games where I kind of feel like whatever we do, we're going to lose this game. It almost feels scripted. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't feel like there's much chance here. Nesta is not fit, apparently, so we'll go with Capani. Right, okay, let's go. This is a really big one. Given the fact that this is a derby, given the fact that we're unbeaten against them so far, and given the fact that we've had a really poor run, we really need to win this one. Oh dear. I really wasn't expecting that, which is why I wasn't commentating, but that's an absolute screamer from Santini. And I mean, I thought this probably would happen. I thought we were going to lose this game, but we'd actually made a decent start. We hadn't had many shots, but we've been keeping them at bay, and they haven't had a proper shot yet, as in no significant XG. Kapani can go through now. Can he prove me right to play him today? Ultramarine is there, and he can. That's more like it. Good move, that. I'm glad that we've managed to square it before half-time. Really, really good piece of interplay there between the Ultramarine and Kapani. Right, so we can now take that as a bit of a clean slate. But we need to be better in the second half, definitely. Here's Kapani. Can he make something happen here? Jubilato finds Kapani again. Kapani into Daniels, and that's it. That's more like it. It's very, very good. I'm going to go a little bit more cautious at this point. Go still positive, because I don't want to invite them on too much, but I don't want to push it either. Nepi shoots, and it's 3-1. That's more like it. Second half, we've been really good. After a very poor first half, we've turned it around in the second, and we've played really, really well. I feel like a lot of praise might be in order here for this team. Gioldi is going to need to come off for dead ammo. Daniels now to Kapani. Back to Daniels. I'm not sure what Daniels is doing on that side because he's playing on the left, but made a good start, a good chance anyway. Right, 13 minutes left. What can we do? I think Kapani comes off at this point. He's been brilliant, but I think he needs to come off because he's a little bit weary. So he can come off. Di Matteo is going to go on for the same reason. And that will do for now. I'm going to leave Omic for the moment because I want to give him a chance to turn things around. I've been really disappointed with him. After the complaints he was making about wanting to be considered a first teamer, he's not been playing well at all. Goot clears it to Nepi. Can we make it 4 and make the game safe? Daniels. Goot to DeMarcus. Daniels again. Can he make something happen here? DeMarcus to Nepi to the Ultramarine, and we do make it safe. Unless that's offside, I think it's all right. Absolutely fantastic goal, if so. This is much more like it. I don't know where this football's been for the last 6 weeks of in-game, but that is much, much more like it. Big game this against a big rival, and we've absolutely blown them away in the second half here. Dead Amor finds Nepi. Is that a penalty? No, it's not. At this point, I'm not too bothered if they do score, to be honest. Nepi to DeMarcus. Goot. Back to DeMarcus. Daniels. Nepi finds the Ultramarine. Dead Ammo's in. I can't quite make it 5. We have been so good in the second half. It's one of the best halves I've seen from this team. This is what I thought we were getting at the start of the season with some of these players. The Ultramarine in particular has been fantastic. He did look like a very, very good player when I bought him. Or rather loaned him. What a win that was. What a win. That was really, really good. The Ultramarine finally coming good today after quite a while of not doing much. In fact, I don't think he had a single goal contribution, had he? He got a goal and he got 2 goals and an assist in that game. So those are his first goal contributions in 9 appearances, which is a worry in itself. He's barely played. I mean, obviously not played any senior games at all before that, but he's barely even played for Lecce's second teams, which is interesting. I think he's a better player than perhaps Lecce thought. It's interesting that he's now worth 500,000, which is miles more than anyone, up to 500,000, but it's miles more than anyone else. So that second game was really, really impressive. I suppose you could say it was an average kind of video in that sense. We got absolutely battered by Bari in the first game, but we did come back to absolutely slaughter Palermo in the second. So I'm not too disappointed. We've actually won now 3 games 4-1 in the last couple of months. So that's fantastic to see, and it shows us that we can play really well. The next goal now and over the next couple of months is to find that consistency up till the January transfer window. We can bring in 1 or 2 more players to take us that little extra step to possibly challenge for the title, although I do think that's starting to look unlikely at this point. But I will certainly be trying, and you can guarantee that this is not going to be something I'm going to give up on easily. So I will be back tomorrow with the next game. I may actually come back sometime in the January transfer window and show you that. Depends on how things go. If it seems like it's sort of heading to a fairly dull sort of edge of the playoffs, but fairly obviously in the playoffs kind of season, then which I think is probably most likely at this point, then I will probably leave it till January. But if it starts to hot up and I can see a couple of big games coming up, then I might see if I can come back a little earlier than that. But I will be back tomorrow regardless. Don't worry about that. And keep on liking those videos, keep subscribing, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.